Okay, we got. What's your personal pre-scene ritual?
It depends on the scene. We were just talking about this today, actually. It depends on the scene. If it's a serious scene, I'll probably have my headphones in and be listening to a song from the playlist that I've made for the character that kind of denotes that scene or the tone of the scene. If it's like an amped up scene, I'm probably doing something quite physical. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Please pick another number. We're doing a few of these and then we'll get into the movie.
Yeah. Or I'm going to try and avoid an unlucky number this time.
There's only one.
Let's go 21.
21. We have, what's a movie or TV show you go back to for inspiration?
Oh, yeah. This is a really random bit of trivia about me. I carry DVDs with me when I'm working. Because why not? A lot of the things that I really love aren't like on streaming, so I'm always like carrying things to like remind me of what I think is good. One of those DVDs is a great film that I think everyone should watch. It's called Meantime. It's a film of it's Gary Oldman's first film. It's just amazing. Meantime, and there's a film by Gaspar Noé called Irreversible, and that is that bad that I like that film?
It was not.
Everyone knows. Yes, it's bad. Sorry.
It was not what I expected you to say. Please pick a number, 1 to 29.
8.
If you could have a song play when you enter a room, what would it be?
So much pressure. Oh God. What's that really sad song that Max Richter composed that is on all the movies?
Oh, the one at the end of Hamnet.
Yes, that one. Don't ask why.
Do we all know that song? We've all seen, a lot of you have seen Hamnet. Okay, anyway, so jumping into why we're all here tonight. This is a jokey around question, but is the message of the movie to never give out your family's address to people you've just met?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely one of the many messages. Yeah.
Being serious, for both of you, I'm sure you read a lot of scripts. What was it about this one that said, oh, I have to do this?
I think there's a number of things about this script that I think was very attractive to me when I first read it. You know, I just came out of drama school when I first read this script, actually. I left drama school and all I did was theatre because that was the most important thing to me at the time. And this was the first film script that I read that I just thought was special. I think one is that this is a film about obviously the prison system, the justice system, which I think we all contribute to. So we put our taxes, whether or not you know someone that's been inside or someone, you know, that's been affected by a crime. This is a massive part of what we hope makes our community better. I think as an actor, inevitably you're trying to do things that feel entertaining, that bring people to movie cinemas, movie theatres, which is why this is amazing to see this like theatre full. But you also want to do things that touch a nerve, that makes us think. If you're lucky, you get to do that. I think this script had it in spades. That was like one of the reasons why I thought this was great.
Couple of reasons. The first was David. We had met about a year before this came together, I think, maybe a bit longer, and just really hit it off and knew that we wanted to work together. So we were trying to look for something, and we almost did a play, and then there was something else we were looking into doing, and then this, David was already attached to this, and him and the director kind of brought it to me, and I was like, it was a no-brainer for me. I mean, like, for an actor to get to kind of play a character who you can't really empathize with in life, but you know, what we'd get to do is step into someone's shoes who ordinarily you would cross the street to get away from. I mean, that's not all we get to do, but it's an opportunity we have that most people don't get. And so, yeah, like, just for me, it's always like, what is the act of empathy here? What is the kind of hopefully Olympian act of empathy that I get to try and do? And with D, he's such an asshole at times that it is a big act of empathy to try and understand him. But then also just the two-hander of it, like, it's such a two-hander where we get to really play off each other. It felt like a play, yeah.
Is this one of these things when you're making a project that's taking place in a prison? Do you do like a prison movie deep dive in your preparation? Like, are you rewatching Shawshank and all the other films, or is it sort of like that doesn't even come up?
I just watch them because they're good movies. Yeah, not for this film, but I just love those. I just like those movies. No, I think this film does, and I say this in the most humble way. Hopefully, this film does live in its own category. I think the realism of this film is a film that. The realism of this film was essential to us. I think we never wanted to make a film that felt, and I mean this in the best way, Hollywood. That's not what this movie is. I think when you're talking about dealing with people's lives, people that have lost a sense of freedom, I've seen those films that are Hollywoodified. That's not this movie. So I think staying away from those movies actually to make this film was essential.
One of the things that your director, Cal, does that I thought was so good is the way that he's intercutting those like phone moments or like prisoners getting beat up or prisoners reacting to the stuff in the cell, because it's constantly reminding you this is not a place you want to live. This is a dangerous, thing. And can you sort of talk about, was that in the script, or were you seeing all that for the first time when you saw the cut of the film?
I mean, that stuff, Cal talks about this better than we ever could, but that stuff is the genesis of the film. He saw all that before he had the idea for the film, and it gave him the idea, and he wrote and directed a short film called Bossman, which was, it's not this film, but it is. You can see this film in it, and it's really harrowing, and it's like 4-5 minutes long.
1 minute. It's a 1 minute.
Is that
It's a 1 minute short film. It's brutal.
Super short.
If you have any, if you like me at all, go home and watch Bossman. It's 1 minute. You probably find it on like a deep dive on Vimeo.
I think it's on Vimeo as well.
So good. Yeah.
But that was the kind of spark of it. He saw these videos online, and he was like, I can't believe people, first of all, that have phones in there and are documenting everything, and second of all, like, he just learned so much about the system that he didn't know from the perspective of people inside, and I think it just sparked his imagination.
One of the things that I also really commend this film and both of your performances is sometimes you see movies and characters are just acting over the top or screaming, or it just feels like they're in a different movie, or like they're just acting, if you will. And both of you are like deliver these realistic, grounded performances. Can you talk about how you figured out the line you wanted to play your characters, and how much was that Cal directing you? Could you sort of talk about the behind the scenes before you stepped on set that first day?
Well, our producer, Sophia Gibber, she's here somewhere, I can't see her, but she is a massive part. She's over there. Just want to make sure we can swarm her after this is done. She's a massive part of why we got to make the film that we wanted to make. Look, I guess for me, I always say there's only there's only two types of acting. There's like real and like unreal, and I think we're all really good at sensing bullshit. Even in fantastical worlds, I've done an alien film. Do you know what I mean? Like, so don't clap. Thank you. No, but I say all this to say, like, when we're making this kind of film, I think the script was clear as day. This is a film that demanded the truth, and working with someone like Tom, I knew that we had a good shot at trying to get it. My part was mostly physical. As you guys would have seen with Taylor, not only is he trying to get back to his younger son on the outside, which is like what his drive and his motivation, but beyond that, he's got like a really bad addiction problem. So obviously I had to, for me to see that on the screen the way that I hoped to convey it, I had to lose some weight. So I lost around 35 pounds just to make sure that he looked like emaciated. Almost metaphorical for what I think prison can do to you. But beyond that, it was just about looking at Tom and getting all this shit that he was throwing at me, which was like wonderful. Not at the time, obviously, but looking back on it, I'm really grateful that I got to have a scene partner like him, man. It was really good.
And it starts with good writing as well. Like for me, the first thing I'm looking at is like on the page is this something I've not seen before, but is it also something that feels like real people speaking? And it took me straight back to being a teenager in the north of England and reminded me of people that I knew, and I was like, I know these people. I don't know them in a prison cell, but I know them, I know how they grew up, I know these people, I grew up alongside them. And the writing is so good. And when it's that good, you just trust in the process, and you trust in the person opposite you, and if in doubt, you just listen to the person opposite you. And yeah, when it's someone as good and connected as David, you end up just in this kind of loop of listening and responding. And because the writing supports you, it's just like, it feels organic every time. Yeah.
I'm fascinated by how actors get ready for that first day of filming. So for both of you, what are you like in the weeks leading up to the first day of filming something? Are you fun to be around? Are you like mentally just diving deep into whatever preparation you do? If you could both talk a little bit about like those weeks leading up to the first day of filming.
We only had a week. It came together so quickly.
There was no time. We had no time.
In the week leading up to the first day of filming.
No, you know, I say always with respect. I always feel like I'm not really a big fan of talking about like prep. I think inevitably whatever I say is going to be a little bit deceptive because I don't know what I'm like. You know what I mean? I don't know what I do to get into a role, really. Everything is kind of different. What I do know is I was on 700 calories a day, which I think I was quite nice as a person. I think I was quite nice. But beyond that, I don't know. You know, you get to a place, I always say this with every role I'm lucky enough to do, you have to be obsessive over what you're doing. I think this job that we do is so awesome and it can be so brilliant that the only way to honour it is to be obsessed with it. And I think I just try and get to that place.
Yeah, I mean, I think the obsessive thing is kind of paramount to it, and that probably looks different for everyone. But yeah, I think you're thinking about it non-stop. You know, even if you're out with friends or whatever you're doing socially, I think you end up inevitably seeing it in everything you do. Yeah, so it's something like, oh, that's where the microphone is. That's why you said it points in one direction. I'm getting it now. Sorry. You end up walking down the street and you can see it everywhere. Like, you see it in everything. And I think if you're seeing it in everything, you know that you're breathing it and living it enough. I think I'm always suspicious if I'm not seeing it in everything I'm doing. I'm probably not invested enough, and there's probably someone who can do it better.
I read, and it could be wrong, that you shot this in 18 days.
That's accurate.
And yeah, for people that, a lot of people here know the industry, 18 days is very, very fast. So what was it like knowing that you needed to make sure like every take was awesome because you might not have that many takes of a scene?
We didn't know.
And don't you think, mate? Well, I talk for myself. I don't think every take was awesome. Yeah, that's crazy.
I do think every take was fresh, if not awesome. Because we had to move so quickly, every take felt urgent. Like the urgency that we shot it with created like a pressure cooker that I think lent itself to the tone of the film and made this kind of like this like rocket fuel that hopefully you felt today. But yeah, I think you don't know. Like I think if you're sat there thinking that scene was awesome or that take was awesome, it probably wasn't. And also you probably weren't in it, I think.
Yeah, and you know what? Again, every actor, I think, or director, writer, producer, you always wish you had more time. But actually, I look back on this and I'm like, no, like it was exactly what it needed to be. There was some scenes that you would have seen today that Tom and I did in one take. And we are obviously like, we'd love to go again. It's like, no, it's a wrap. Because we literally can't afford to do it anymore. And I look back on it and I'm like, man, like I have this thing sometimes where I do go home and I'm like, normally I can sleep okay. And sometimes I'm like, I just wish I had one more. But I look back on it now, I'm like, no, that was it. And anything else after that I would be thinking. And yeah, we've lost it.
I don't know about you as well, but I found that almost every scene that I think is going to be the magic scene, or like that I think is going to be the one where I gave my best performance, I watch it back and it's always one of my least favourites in the film. almost always. I'm not going to tell you which ones they are because I don't want to be caught out. But yeah.
Tom, I have a question for you. I read, again, could be wrong, that you had the tattoos on your neck on for the month of filming, and I'm just curious, how did that what was it like walking around in the real world with those tattoos, and did the reaction of people possibly impact how you played the character?
Yeah, I had them on for pretty much the whole time. There was one weekend where David and I got invited to a fancy event in London, or in the countryside, and we decided to go to take a break. And I think both felt really out of pocket there, because we were like, what are we doing here? We're like doing a prison film, we're at this stupid posh event. And I took I took above the neck off for that, but I knew I had all the other ones on, so I was living like a double life. But yeah, it definitely, I think just as someone, I've got a couple of small tattoos, but I don't have neck tats and eye tats and stuff, and it definitely does, in like quote unquote polite society, especially in the UK where class is such a big thing still. If you're walking through a certain part of London with a certain aesthetic, it definitely does change the way people talk to you or treat you, and that is interesting. I think I'm fascinated by class. I know it's very different here, still exists, but like it's different. It's different in the way that it affects your day-to-day life. But especially being back in the UK, I found it very interesting because I've lived here for quite a while. So being back there for this film, which was the first time I'd lived there in a while, I was like really aware of the class system.
I read that the vomit scene, you guys, I want to make sure I got this right, that Cal, your director, asked you to redo the vomit scene after David had already washed up and changed.
Accurate, again.
So what is that like when you think you've wrapped it, you've gotten it, and then you cleaned up, and then, oh, by the way, we're going to do this one more time?
I'm a bit dubious about things now, actually, because remember I just said, like, we would do a take, and I'll be like, this is a really good scene. Can we do it again? No, there's no time. There was time for the vomit again. It's a bit weird, Sophia, don't you think? No, I mean, that was it's true. I went. We did it. Tom was actually very, very kind and like, he didn't want to do it to me, but I was like, man, just do it, give me it. And he did. What was it, like soup or?
It was cold vegetable soup.
That's right. And he did it like a baby bird. Like he kind of like he took like a bit, and it was like, and it did more, and then did more, and then it just all came out in one splat. And I was like, that's got to be a take. And everyone was like, it's the take, you can go. So I like go into my trailer, wash off my face, have like a nut. I'm like, I'm gonna go home, and then they were like, so sorry. Can we just do one more?
You know what? I think the problem in that take as well was that there was too much vomit. I think they said it looked comical, right? Because I'd like gulped it down and kind of kept finding new corners of my mouth and throat that I could kind of like pocket it in, and then I did it, and I thought I'd nailed it, and I was like, oh, I covered him that time. And then, I was like, yes. I was like, that's acting. That's why we went to drama school. And yeah, they brought us back and they were like, you did too much. It was too much. Yeah.
Individual for you, Tom. I wrote this one down. Like, your character is not your typical quote unquote brute. He brings an Xbox, a Switch, and like a party atmosphere into the prison cell. Why do you think Dee feels the need to perform this like king of the block persona so loudly, especially when he's also selling drugs?
It's what he's used to. I mean, that speaking in the class system, it's like he's come off an estate in London where it's like eat or be eaten, and he has like a bit of an animalistic mentality to him, which is like, I'm going to be the loudest in the room so that no one approaches me, and if someone does approach me, I'm going to hit first so they can't hit me, and that's just the way he operates. It's a protective mechanism that he's known since he was young, and he's held on to, and eventually gets him killed. But I think there's a real, I don't think that the film is like moralizing or trying to kind of be like a TED Talk. I think it lets you hopefully take away your own morals from it by being very human. But for me, one of the morals there is like about masculinity and what we hold on to that maybe served us at one point, but then as you go through life, it really stops serving you. But if you hold on to it, it can literally be the thing that you thought protected you once can be the thing that kills you.
Yeah. Something that I'm always fascinated about with actors is the ability to not blink in intense scenes. And there are moments where I was watching where, you know, you're not blinking. And I'm just, what is it like for both? Are you conscious of that when you're doing a take, that I cannot blink in this scene?
No. No.
Oh, did I do it too?
No, I've noticed it with both of you, but like, is it something, because I've noticed with a lot of actors and certain people, certain performers I've spoken with, they will specifically not blink, and they have trained themselves not to blink. And I'm just curious if that, you know.
I know there's a famous video of Michael Caine from like the 80s or something where he's delivering an acting class, and he says, he's like, don't blink, blinking is weakness. And it's a really bad impression, but
It's quite good.
it was alright. But I think what he's getting at, like, I think if you're thinking about that, again, you're probably not in it. But the point being, you know, with D, it's like, again, it's a way he doesn't want to show weakness. He doesn't want to show that he's giving away power, so he might hold someone's eye contact for longer than is normal because he's like, I'm not going to back down first. But yeah, I don't know, what do you think?
I don't know, man. I that's I don't know what I'm doing. Sorry.
We're just about out of time, but I want to sneak in one or two last quick things. David, how do you think your character Taylor feels when he's leaving prison? Do you think he feels guilty, or do you think he did what he had to do to survive?
What do you think? No, I mean, look, I love you, so I don't want to sound terse, but I think, you know, inevitably, you're playing one thing at a time. It's just like us in real life, right? We make decisions in the moment, and you ask someone, like, later on, what did you do at that time? The longer time goes, the less and less you're like, hang on, I don't even know what I was doing at the time. I look back on it, and I don't know what Taylor was thinking at the time, but I think it's a combination of probably everything.
I'll actually stop there and just say thank you so much for making the movie. Congratulations on it. You both did such excellent work. And for the audience, please, a round of applause for Tom and David.